Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. I'm Gavin Webber, the host of the show, and this is Ask the Cheeseman, episode 349. I had to remember that one. Very close to 350. Great achievement, I reckon. We've been going for years, which is great. It's a lovely part of my Sunday morning, and I hope it's a lovely part of your Sunday morning as well. Big shout out to all of the members and patrons who support the show financially. Big shout out to Katarina, to Sis, Roxy, to Mike Lackner. I see that Mike's in the chat, I think, as well. YouTube commenter, Hartish, Matt Ashby, and Mango, plus everybody else who's there on the list. And let's not forget our patrons as well over on patreon.com. Big shout out to everybody who's a member and patron of the channel. It really does help keep the lights on and yeah, keep the show running. So fantastic. It's great to see so many people. We've got 28 people watching at the moment. So absolutely great. Now, as far as videos coming up, let me just bring up my Trello board and share that with the world. Here we go. Right, so currently I'm filming today 2 cheeses for the I made 4 cheeses using the Formaggio. Here's what I learned. So I'm making 2 more cheeses there, and we should then be able to wrap up filming on that video. The Mount Cottrell cheese, or Valence style, I have to make another batch. The first batch didn't go as well as I expected because I missed some important things in the recipe. So I've revised the recipe. I'm going to make the cheese again, and we'll give it another go. So it'll be absolutely perfect for when you have a go at it. Just going to film the last bit of the How I Enhance My Veggie Patch for Retirement. That's the working title. I'm sure I'll find something a little bit more catchier than that one. So that's coming up soon. I've written the script for cheese making with different milks, which is the working title for that as well. I can't remember what the title options are, but anyway, it'll be cow's milk. Sorry, not cow's milk. Goat, sheep, and buffalo milk are the 3 milks I'm going to focus on in that video. So that'll be good fun. And get around the next cheese I'll be making after the Mount Cottrell Valence one and the few that I'm making with the Formaggio machine is Blue de Buffalo, which is a blue buffalo milk cheese. Seeing I can get my hands on water buffalo milk here in Victoria, which is fantastic. Also, a big treat is, hang on, let me just get this round before the big reveal. In the mail this week came and hopefully you can see that. The Halo 2 wireless pH tester for cheese by Hannah Instruments. I've done my training with Hannah. We did a video call and they told me how to use it. I'll just quick open the box, get a book, of course, and the meter itself. It's that big. That's it. Hang on. There we go. It's not very big. Doesn't need to be. But yeah, we'll be using that, and I'll be making videos with that soon, as I have the final meeting with Hannah to determine the purchase link, the coupon code, so you get a bit discount. And yeah, so we'll go from there, and whatever the rest of the agreement is. So that'll be good fun. So that's coming in the works, as well as the from Argio, and I've had another vendor reach out to me, but that's in early days. But yeah, lots of videos coming up, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've also been reading, I'm not sure, I think it was Matt who's in the chat today. He said that I should that the Paul Thomas book, home cheesemaking, is that the word? Home cheesemaking. Oh, that's the book. It's in the other room. I read it from cover to cover again, and you know what? The first time I read it a few years ago, I didn't think it was that good, and I don't know why. Maybe because it was really technical. But now that I'm at this stage in my cheese making journey, I read it, and it was an absolute delight to read. Maybe because I read it in the context of a more experienced cheesemaker, and I absolutely wouldn't say that book is for real, newbie beginners. It's the book itself, and I don't have a copy of it here with me, is more your intermediate to advanced cheesemaker, and I think Matt will agree in the chat that it's a wealth of information, and it's on par with, well, I think it is anyway, on par with Giannis Caldwell's book, Mastering Artisan Cheesemaking, which also has the same level of detail in it. And both books are the only ones that I can find that actually have the pH settings for... Oh, that was me. Sorry, I kicked it with my foot. The pH settings in the recipes, the targets that you have to hit, that are up. Not all of them, but the most important targets to hit, which is really good. So yeah, really detailed. And as to Paul's comment a few weeks ago, where he said I should do a book review, well, I'm on my journey to do that. So I'm going to read a few books, and I'll do some beginners ones. Probably do a few videos. I thought we'll do some beginners ones, some intermediate ones, and then some advanced ones. And yeah, so we could do that during the whole video. Anyway, let's say good day to a few people. I think I've said everything I want to say so far. Big shout out to Zombicus, was the first person on the chat today, making their Edam. So that's Lisa. Shauna, say good day to you, of course. We've got Dominic. Hello, Dominic. Who else? Jeffrey. G'day, Jeffrey. Love to see you, mate. Fiona as well. Mike Lackner. G'day, Mike. Betty Ward says she's not doing well, but we didn't get any more details than that. We got Paul, and all was right. It's always all was right. Molly, Carolyn, Jose. G'day, Jose. Thanks for the photos too, mate. We got Matt, who's over there in the UK, and that's it, I think. We do have a question, though, from Dominic. We've got 31 people watching at the moment. If you've got any questions, that's what I forgot to say. Any questions, don't forget to put them down in the chat. And put 3 Qs like you see Dominic has done there, so I can find them easily in the chat in all my stuff here, and we'll get it going. Alrighty, so first question of the day. Oh, I also forgot. It's been 2 weeks. There's a gallery at 8:30 or 30 minutes past the hour, so that should be good fun. Dominic says, are there cheeses that require a certain mould size or shape, or is that just an aesthetic? Yes, there is. So softer cheeses, you'll probably notice, have smaller baskets because they have a higher moisture content, and the cheese, if it had a bigger volume, it would tend to flatten. So by having small baskets and only small rounds of cheese that don't have a lot of weight, they don't flatten because they're high in moisture. They seem to hold their shape. The larger cheeses are always harder and drier cheeses. So yes, different cheeses require different mould sizes. Although you can make the harder cheeses into smaller ones, and that's no issue. But you can't make the softer cheeses into big ones. It doesn't work. Gravity, apparently. Anyway, interesting question. First time it's ever been asked in 349 episodes. So well done, Dominic. Shauna says, my Paul Thomas book arrived this week. It's brilliant, and I agree with your comments. Yeah, like I said, Shauna, it's definitely a more intermediate or advanced. There's a lot of fantastic information in there, very specific. I'm not sure I like the way that he puts the measurements for the cultures. He puts it in decimals of units. A packet of culture comes in, 10 units or up to 50. I've seen them up to even 500 units per packet sachet of starter culture. And yeah, it is difficult to, as a beginner, that's for sure, to measure all that out and have that all. And some of the recipes have sometimes up to 5 or 6 different starter cultures, so pretty intense stuff. But anyway, it's a great book. Don't get me wrong there. Charlie says, love a good gorgonzola. So do I. But I lean more towards the gorgonzola dolce rather than the picante. The picante's too spicy. I love a good spicy cheese, but that one just bites your tongue and you can really feel it for a long time after you've eaten the cheese. Anyway, that's my personal preference. Mike says, what is a good melting cheese for a beginner? Something that would work well in a grilled sandwich. All right, I need to refresh my memory of cheeses that I've made recently. Let's go to the video list. And we'll have a look at some melters, shall we? Good question. Okay. So, Hispanico, that was a good one. That melted really well. Didn't take too long to make. The Comte, I don't know. I'll never know because I never got around to eating it. The goat's cheddar didn't melt very well. I think the acidity might have been a little bit off. Triple Udder Blue melted perfectly. Dried Jack, that melted okay. Ebores, that melted as well. Let me think of a good melter. Hancays wouldn't melt in a pink fit. Triple Pepper Snack was a good one. Lots of flavour, and so was the Smoky Imposter. In fact, the Smoky Imposter was more like halloumi than it was a melter. Domiati didn't melt. Yesterday's, now that melts perfectly. Nice and simple cheese. And if you want a toasted sandwich, go to the next level. This one here, hang on, where's the cheese? Cott's chili, this is it. There we go. Oh, there's the ingredients list. There's a sneak peek. But yeah, where's the cheese? Where's the final cheese? Let me just scroll through. There we go. Look at that. Chili, chives, onion, and garlic. And I'll tell you what, for a toasted sandwich, absolutely perfect. Now let me just, I'll grab that link for you and we'll pop that in the chat. There we go. Go and check that out for the perfect melty cheese, Mike. Hope that helps. It's one of my favourites, that's for sure. Okay. Another question. This one's from James. Hello, James. Hi, Gavin. How are you going in chilly Melbourne? Well, the temperature has dropped. It's, 11 degrees Celsius now, but it is early morning. It'll get better. Let me think. What are you... What you were just saying about pH levels. What cheeses are most sensitive to pH fluctuations? Well, James, all of them, as far as I've read so far, they all have targets that you should hit, and I think I'll probably hit them most of the time, even without a pH meter, because as you get more experience, you kind of know what the texture of the curd looks like, when it should be drained, when it should be cut, all that sort of stuff, and there are steps for beginners to help that. One of the cheeses that you absolutely have to nail a pH target is pasta filata cheese. And we'll get to that super chat in a minute. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Pasta filata cheeses. So stretch curd, mozzarella, provolone, scamorza, all those sorts of stretchy curd cheeses. You absolutely have to nail the pH and get it down to 5.2 on the pH scale, which is... not that acidic, but 5.2 is the absolute minimum you have to get to before you can even stretch the curds. If you're before that or lower than that, then yeah, it won't work. So pasta filata cheeses are absolutely the most sensitive. And Molly has backed me up there. Thank you, Molly, for being my wingman today. Yes, absolutely spot on. Carolyn has a statement, says, recreating the taste test with the ALDI cheeses, and we all loved watching your video and testing the cheeses afterwards. Amazed by the gorgonzola cheese, a new favourite. Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, it was a fun little video to make, and I had to do something with that gift card, and what better to go and find exotic ALDI cheeses. I've since gone to their website here in Australia, and there's a few more that I missed. So I'm going to have to do a second ALDI haul cheese video. So that should be good fun as well. Now, Paul did have a super chat, and I'll make the light flash again because we missed that. Says, hi Gavin, I received Paul Thomas's book this week. Need to go before the gallery. Any extra tips for the orange and walnut before I attempt it? Okay, so just make sure that you've got rid of most of the skins on the walnuts, and you've done that sanitization part, because the walnut skins tend to make cheese bitter. It has a tannin, that's the word I'm looking for. So that may make it bitter, so watch that. I think the sugar levels were perfect for it, and I think the recipe stands by itself. And yeah, I think it's a great cheese. It's got a nice flavour to it. So you got the little hint of the orange, you got the crunchiness of the walnuts, and definitely the kefili flavour definitely comes through with a little bit of saltiness to offset that little bit of sweetness and orange flavour. So I think it's a lovely all-round cheese, Paul. So the only tip is get as much of the walnut skins off as you can, and make sure they're all sanitized. The orange, make sure you wash the oranges properly, and the alcohol will kill off any bacteria that's lurking on any of the zest, which is the good reason to use the alcohol as well, the orange liqueur. Anyway, thanks for that, Paul. Appreciate the $25. Thank you very much. Mango says, tried making cream cheese with raw milk that was a few days old and I forgot to pasteurize. I tried to bake it in a cheesecake and it separated from the eggs. Normal, or should I try again? No, it's not normal. I would, with cream cheese, because it's a fresh cheese with raw milk, I would definitely pasteurize it before you use it. So nothing against raw milk, of course, but if it's not fresh, like straight from the cow that day or the next morning, then it tends to find that it will be contaminated with lactic bacteria and other pathogens that you don't know about. So if you don't get it absolutely as fresh can be, then yeah, all sorts of things may happen. I would absolutely pasteurize it and give it another go. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. Thank you, Mango. Another super chat. This one is from Lisa Zombicus Officinalis. Hi Gavin, what is the reason to soak Edam in whey after the first press? Okay, so the reason is to make sure that the paste is tight and doesn't have any air bubbles in it. So pressing under whey, which is what we're trying to do there, is to make the paste a little bit more elastic and to close the structure so there's no mechanical holes. That's the only reason. You may have seen a few other videos that I've done, Lisa, that I've been pressing under whey, and I think the Hispanico was one as well. I want a nice tight net paste, and by doing that in the first, press or gathering of the curds, whatever we're going to call it, you'll see that there are very minimal mechanical holes in those cheese. So that's the reason why, and thank you so much for the super chat. Dominic has a question, says, every time I try making a pasta filata cheese, the pH drops too low. Any advice for managing the pH? Yeah. So, I think, yeah, so holding back on the starter culture, don't add as much. If you're making, a proper pasta filata cheese, if you're using citric acid and doing the quick mozzarella method, then you obviously have to ease off on the citric acid. So you do that. With traditional pasta filata cheeses, you need to use less starter cultures. Stop the acidification. Cutting of the curd is very important as well. The larger the cut, the lower the pH is going to be, so more towards neutral, and the lower the acidity, not the lower the pH. And if you cut the curds really small, they'll acidify faster. So yeah, you got to hit it fairly close to 5.2. And then you take away any heat source that you possibly can, and that'll stop the acid development as well. Whack it with the hot water, and then absolutely that stops any development. It kills off the lactobacteria, and then the rest is history. Should be able to stretch it and have no problems whatsoever. So that's my advice. I hope it's okay, Dominic. But yeah, that's the best way to manage it. Next question is from Matt. It says, hi, pardon me. Hi, Gav. Ever used a cream cheese stabilizer such as guar gum to stop it splitting after a day or so? It's something I'm researching at the moment. No, I haven't. The cream cheeses that I've made, the cow's milk version, it didn't split. Once I drained it enough, it was fine. Didn't have too many problems with that. What's the other version? Sherv, which is the goat's milk version of cream cheese. Didn't have any problems with that. If there was, I think the goat's milk one had a little bit of whey, started to separate a little bit, but then I just stirred it back in and it became creamy again. It wasn't any problem. I know you're trying to, it's for sale, you're trying to make a product there, Matt. I haven't added anything to it, to any of my cream cheeses, because all I've done is just stirred any whey that's come off it back into it. So for the home cheese maker, it's probably not so important, but as you said, if you're going to put some sort of gum or stabilizer in the cream cheese for sale so it doesn't split on the shelf in the packet, I think is what you're after. But sorry, I don't have any info on that, mate. Sorry I couldn't help more. Zombicus says, I have yet to make a pasta filata type cheese, biting fingernails while thinking about it. Look, honestly, it's not too hard. But I absolutely do think that if you're going to make a lot of it and make it regularly, then probably a pH meter is the best thing to do. I've been checking, the pH test strips that I have against the meter, and they're off by about one whole not decimal, one whole point. So yeah, the test strips that I've used previously have been hit and miss. So unfortunately, Mike says, do you start with chilled or room temperature milk? So during my process, when I make the cheese, I get the milk out first and put it on the side out of the fridge, and yeah, it does warm up to room temperature. So I suppose the answer is room temperature. It doesn't really matter. So as long as you've got a good heating source, like the precision cooker that I use and do the water bath thing, then it's just a matter of if you use it straight out of the fridge, it's just going to take longer to heat up and make your cheese making session a bit longer. I find that when I'm, before I sanitize everything, I get the milk out of the fridge, put it on the side, and then sanitize everything. By the time I've gone through the 15-20 minute sanitization process, before I start making the cheese, I find the milk is warmed up. And that just takes a little bit less time to heat it up while I'm making the cheese up to its first target temperature. So that's the answer. I get it out before I start the sanitization process. Okay, James says, I have a Comte maturing. The rind has gone nice and dry except on the bottom, where I turn it once a week, but it is still so moist. Any hint? Yeah, James, with Comte, it's probably best to mature if you're doing it as a natural rind, which it seems you are. There's a reason why cheesemakers use unvarnished wooden boards. So things like pine or anything with low tannins in it. So pine boards are fine. And the reason they put them on the pine boards is because some of the moisture gets sucked into the boards. And you don't get that moist can be up a soggy bottom. So that's one of the reasons why traditional cheesemakers use pine boards, is because it soaks up some of the moisture from the bottom of the cheese and helps to dry it out as well. Unfortunately, with home cheese making, you're just going to have to put up with that bit, and it will be moist until it dries out further. Do you say how long it's been like that? If it's only in the first 2 or 3 weeks, then yeah, it's going to be like that. So if you use plastic underneath, what I do when I turn it with my ripening box, it's 2 months, right? So what I do is I wipe the mat clean, so wipe the mat dry with some paper towel, and then we're good to go again if you think that may be the issue. So that helps. Zombicus says, my Sao Giorgi rind is very dry, so I put it in a box in the cheese cave. Should I be doing anything else with it? I don't really want to vacuum pack it. It's humidity. If you find the rind's really dry, the humidity should be below 90% relative humidity for any hard, semi-hard cheeses. Round about 80-85 for harder cheeses like Sao Giorgi, which is kind of like a Portuguese cheddar cheese. Very similar process. But that's the only thing you can do. If you put it in the ripening box, make sure that you put a moist jade cloth towel. What's it called? What do we call it here? Chucks. That has been sanitized, and you wring it out, but it's still moist, right? So it's going to raise the humidity in your ripening box. You need to get that humidity up, because otherwise it will be it'll be way too dry, and you'll get cracks in the rind of the cheese. So it's got to be in a humid environment. Zomicus goes on to say, I put a wet towel in the box with the... Yep, that perfect. Perfect. That's the only thing you have to do. Besides making sure that as it does age, and if it's really dry, this may not happen, that any moisture that that collects in the bottom of the box, that you tip it out, wipe it out, and you're good to go. Dominic says, I lacto-ferment vegetables a lot. Am I at risk for cross-contamination? Lots of the lactobacteria that you use for fermenting vegetables like kimchi and cabbage and that sort of stuff are the same as cheese making. I've looked at packets. There's a couple that come to mind, and that's Lactobacillus lactis, subspecies rhamnosus, and subspecies plantarum. They're both lactic acid bacteria. That's the main fermentation cultures, and they just happen to be, and that's time for the gallery, they just happen to be protective cultures for cheese making as well. So if you do get any cross-contamination from any vegetables you've fermented, they're only going to be of benefit to the cheese because they stop mold growth and late blowing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not that bad, but yeah, keep the fermenter thing away from where you're making cheese. It's better to do that than, you know, and similar to, say, sourdough. When you're making sourdough, the yeast from the sourdough may get into the milk when you're making the cheese, and yeah, that's not good because you get all these little bubbles in your milk and curds. It's not good. That is time for the gallery, so keep asking questions, but we'll get to the gallery in a second. I'll bring that up, and let me find my little notes from all the peeps. Rightio. So, let me just... what am I doing here? Get rid of that. Before we start, the gallery is brought to you by you, the curd nerds. You send the photos in. I'll show you how to do that at the end. But today, we have... pardon me. We have the first one, which is from Jose. Jose, he's there somewhere in the chat. So the first one, so Jose sent through, says, G'day Gavin, I hope you are having a great day when you read this email. Yeah, I am. I am sending you some pictures of the last cheese I've made. I'm really excited since it's the first time that I didn't follow any recipe. I just tried to follow my instinct. This is a pasta filata cheese made with pasteurised cow milk with mesophilic culture and rennet. I added salt to the milk at the beginning of the making. Later, I drained it for a few hours and put the curd in hot water. I made a ball and pressed it to get a nice shape. Yes, there is a nice shape. Later, I drained it for a few hours and put the curd... Oh, hang on, I've read that bit. After a week, I realised that the cheese was bumped, and I cut the cheese, and I thought that there was something wrong. I found that the cheese had developed holes and a delicious taste. Not acidic, but not strong or sharp, and I'm really excited because I've never tried a cheese like this. Right, hang on, there's more pictures. Right, there we go. We do have some gas development. Now, what I'm hoping, Jose, is that the mesophilic culture that you had, that you used, had some gas. So it was like Floridanica, maybe. That's the only reason I can think there would be eyes in a pasta filata cheese like that. So I am a little bit concerned about contamination, because if you didn't use a starter culture that did have a some gas production, then a little bit of a problem going on here. It may taste all right, but however, it may be contaminated as well, which may not be a good thing. Could be a lack of salt as well. Could be the issue with this. So I'm not sure, and it's very hard for home cheesemakers to test if there are any pathogens or any contamination. But in a pasta filata cheese, we should not be seeing eyes like that. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't share your bravado with this cheese. It looks nice, but it should not swell like that. One question I would ask is, was the cheese, was it resting at room temperature during this time? The gas production probably wouldn't happen if it was under 13 degrees Celsius, because those sorts of gases aren't formed at those temperatures. So yeah, a bit of a worry, Jose. I'm a little bit concerned about that cheese. So just my opinion. I'm just trying to get a better look. Yeah, if you didn't use a gas-producing lactic bacteria, then I would have concerns about that cheese. Sorry, mate. It might look awesome, but if it wasn't intentional and those eyes aren't supposed to be there due to the lactobacteria, then yeah, it's a bit of an issue. Anyway, Jose goes on to say, I'll make another one tonight when watching your stream, and I will try to mature this one longer. Thanks for your time and knowledge that you are sharing with all of us. I may need your help to name this cheese. Lol. Kind regards, Jose. There you go. Jose has just said in the chat, yes, I kept it at room temperature. Yep, that's why it did that. So it is best, once you've formed it into your mold, to put it into cold water. And then from there, I would put it into the pasta filata cheeses. The vast majority don't mature beyond a week, except for maybe provolone, which takes a bit longer. But yeah, keep it at a lower temperature, Jose, and I think your eye development will be a lot less, unless you use something like Floridanica, which does produce gas, and you would see this eye development in there, especially at those warmer temperatures. Anyway, moving right along. Thank you, Jose, for sending those in. It is always very fun to experiment with cheeses, that's for sure. Okay, so next we have from Molly, and Molly says, G'day Gavin, I'm finally getting around to send you some pictures again for the gallery. My Alpine Blossom was a bit late blown, but it wasn't the biggest problem. I learnt that lavender should be limited when making this cheese. Yes, indeed. I used a mixture of lavender and chamomile, and the resulting cheese tasted quite strongly of lavender. Regards, Molly. Thank you, Molly. Yes, lavender is very strong. It has oils in the lavender, even that's what you get the smell from, as well as the lavender flavour, which is, I won't say it's not bitter. The flavour of lavender is certainly different. It has I found that it has like a numbing sort of feeling on your tongue. Very strange. So yeah, it's unusual, but yeah, I do confirm that your cheese is a little bit late blown there. The acid of the cheese probably wasn't low enough to prevent the late blowing, which is caused by coliforms. No, butyric acid. Yeah, sorry, wrong one. I'm thinking of early blowing. This is also from Molly, and this is her dry jack, and that looks perfect, absolutely spot on. So you nailed that one, definitely, Molly. A perfect looking cheese, and I bet it tasted amazing as well. The next one is also from Molly. This is Guido's hard Italian cheese, and it looks like you got the big guns out as far as the cutting the cheese with that massive knife. That is absolutely beautiful. So spot on. Look at that. I love it. And that has been matured for quite a while, as I can see there. It's got crystals. It's got everything. So it's all going well. So I love that. So good. And I love the knife. That is just crazy. Anyway, the next one says this motion. motion? Oh, there's a little bit of a video thing going on here. This is Molly's saffron-infused caciotta. So this is an Italian-style cheese. And you can see the yellowing there, that is saffron threads. But yeah, it looks like it's a nice tasting cheese. Congratulations. And is there another one? Let me have a look. Yeah, there is. And this is Molly's Vacheron, oh God, how do you say that? Fribourgeois? Fribourge. Oh, I can't even say it. French. Oh, so difficult for this crazy Aussie. Anyway, nice. And it's got a little bit of a rind there. I think it's just dried out. I don't think that's might be Penicillium candida, a little bit of geo actually, or salt, one of the two. But the cheese itself, nice thick rind. Yeah, lovely. Looks great. Fantastic looking cheeses, Molly. Absolutely great. Congratulations. This is from, the next one's from Patricia Gauchi. Says, hi Gavin, I've resumed making my Sweeney Todd... Sorry, I'll start again. I've resumed making Sweeney Todd influenced cheeses based on the lyrics in the song Have a Little Priest. As a reminder, this is a duet between the murderous barber Sweeney Todd and the meat pie baker Mrs. Lovett, where they discuss the features of a pie might have if they were concealing the remains of the specific person's career. Check out the lyrics. Todd says, no, this isn't fiddle player, it's piccolo player. Lovett says, how can you tell? Todd says, it's piping hot. I present to you piccolo player. That's what she's called her cheese. It's a washed rind raclette style cheese which is served bubbling hot over hot potatoes, sprinkled with dry Thai chili flakes and with pickled jalapeno and RG peppers and slices of chorizo sausage. Piping hot indeed. It's really good with all the spicy stuff too. All my best, Patricia. That looks fantastic, Patricia. There's the spuds, there's the cheese. You've got your raclette melter going on there. And there's the cheese there. Absolutely fantastic. It looks perfect for raclette too. But that looks lovely. Well done and congratulations on your piccolo player raclette with all the spicy bits. Very nice. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Goodness me, that is so good. Alrighty. That is the gallery today. Thank you everybody for sending in your photo. Let me just get rid of that and that. And let me show you how to send in your own photos. What you do is you go to the channel page on YouTube. And this bit here says, do you want to become a curd nerd? Just click there where it says more. And you get the about page. And then you can go down to channel details and view the email address. And that is where you send in your photos for the gallery. So just send them to that email address. And I will gladly show them in the next Ask the Cheeseman gallery. So it's that simple, curd nerds. Just go to that about bit and you're good to go. Alrighty. We've got some more questions and super chats and all sorts of stuff going on here, which I haven't got to yet. Dominic sent through a super sticker. I think it was a super sticker. Does it come up? Where is it? Dominic, where are you? $5. What does it look like? There you go. There's the super sticker dancing up and down. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. And we've got a super chat, so let's get to that as well. And that is from Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, my Bel Paese, I think that's what you're trying to say, is about 3 weeks in the fridge, but it never got slimy. Is that normal? Yeah, sometimes. It depends on the humidity and whether there are any wild yeasts in your environment. The sliminess on the outside of the Bel Paese is usually caused by yeasts that grow on the surface of the cheese. So if that didn't happen, that's fine. If it's perfectly fine. So yeah, your cheese should taste absolutely amazing, Jeffrey. I think 3 weeks is the time to taste it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure, if I remember. The rest, I haven't made that cheese for a long time, but yeah, it's a great cheese. But thank you for the super chat, Jeffrey. Appreciate the $10 Aussie there. But yeah, your cheese is normal. Fantastic. And because you're wiping it with brine every so often as well, it's not so much of an issue, and that slimy stuff won't happen. So there you go. Alrighty, I think we have some other questions as well. Carolyn says, our local cows are having a break and due to come back into milking around April. How long after coming back should I wait to make a batch, or is there something else to add to the milk? Okay. So the first part of the milk that comes out after the calf is born is called colostrum, if that makes sense. That's extra food for the calf. I think that only lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then after that, then you'll get proper milk, which the calf needs. So yeah, so a couple of weeks, and then you can start using the milk yourself. You know, if they're your cows, then if your cows, that's my advice. If they're run by a dairy, they won't put colostrum milk into their vats to sell to dairy manufacturers. So there's nothing to really worry about there. If they're selling it as normal, that means they've tested it and it's proper, and it has a proper fat to protein ratio. Milk Slinger, hello Jennifer, lovely to see you. Says we usually wait about 12 days or so to make hard cheese. You probably do it sooner. There you go. That's the good advice. Merv says better late than never. Good morning, Gav. Indeed. Good morning to you, Merv. Lovely to see you, mate. Where else? Alrighty. Merv says a bit. What's the difference between double cheese and brie and camembert? Okay. So when somebody says double brie, it just means it's got extra cream in it. Or nobody ever says double camembert, do they? It's weird. That has cream in it as well. Yeah, it's just the amount of fat content. That's the difference. Normal brie has a high fat content anyway, so a little bit of a gimmick, I think. Even though it does indicate that it has more fat than it does protein as far as that ratio goes. Okay. Jose says, I always use the same culture and it's the first time I've had those eyes. Okay. So, yeah, I think there's something going on there, which is not quite right. Zombicus says, good to know about the lavender flavour before I coat my Alp Blossom in April. Yeah, so with my mixture, as far as lavender goes, I think it was on the lower side. I can't remember in the recipe itself. I haven't got that in front of me. But, yeah, I had a mix. I had rose petals, calendula. I don't know if there was chamomile in it, because that's quite a strong flavour as well. I definitely had some other herbs like thyme, tiny bit of rosemary, I think, as well, because that's quite strong. And I didn't want one flavour to overpower the entire cheese. But yeah, I think I nailed it when I made my mix. And I'm pretty sure that in the recipe itself, it has the different ratios that I use for all the different herbs and spices. Anyway. Nina says, hi all, joining late, but good to catch gallery. Indeed it was. And g'day Nina, lovely to see you as always. What else we got? Looking for another question. Kristen says, and hello Kristen, is there a substitute for MM100 culture? Let me have a look. Let me find my cultures list. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. It's not very far away from Cultures, right. Are we going to be able to show this on the screen? This is from, let me just get rid of that and make it bigger. Is it going to get bigger? Let me have a look. Second monitor. Right, can I make a bigger text? Rightio. So, what are we looking for? MM100. MM100. Right, so it contains Lactobacillus subspecies lactis. It also contains, where is it? Here it is. Lactobacillus lactis subspecies chromoris and LD, which is Lactobacillus. What the heck is bloody LD? Hang on, I know this one. It's down here somewhere. Sorry for all the white space. LD, Lactobacillus lactis biavar diacetylactis. Goodness me. All right, so what it does, and can we find the equivalents in the list? So it's a moderate acidifier with some gas and high diacetyl production. Used for brie, camembert, havarti, gouda, Edam, feta, blue, sherv, and other buttery, open textured cheeses. Okay, so is there a substitute that's easy? No, there isn't. In a pinch, what you could do, and you'll get more gas development, Kristen, is use something like Flora Danica, which also has another culture in, very similar. It's an aroma type a mesophilic culture. Or you could go back the other way, less buttery flavour, and just use MA11 or MO30 by Sacco, which is just the two main homo-fermentive cultures, whereas MM100 and Flora Danica are heterofermentive cultures, which provide a little bit of gas and diacetylitis. So a lot of detail, I know, but it's probably the best way to do it is probably go backwards and use MA11 or MO30 by Sacco, which is the same thing. Alrighty, how do I get rid of that? Gav, make that. What's going on? Can I get rid of it? Right, no, it's stuck. It's stuck on the page. Oh, right, Gav, just close the window. Right, that's fixed it. Alrighty, so hopefully that answered your question, Kristen. You can either go for Flora Danica, and that'll have more gas production, or you can go backwards and have less buttery flavour and go for MA11 or MO30 by Sacco. Okay. Dominic says, have you ever tried all the cheeses in the Monty Python cheese shop sketch? Would make a wonderful book. It'd make a wonderful video if I could get all the cheeses. But that is a very, very funny comedy sketch. If you haven't seen Monty Python's cheese shop sketch, I think it's on YouTube. Not very good quality, but it's worth having a look, and you'll get a laugh out of it anyway. But that's a good idea. I'm going to write that down. Cheese shop. Wonder if I could do it justice. Shop sketch. Cheeses. Oh, I'll tell you what, that'd be a challenge to find. He talks about 20 different cheeses. He doesn't have any cheese in the cheese shop. But anyway, I've spoiled the joke. Right. Next question is sorry, statement. Cool cat. I'm late, tiptoes and sits next to Shauna. Hey everybody, g'day. Lovely to see you, mate. I am soup. What's your favourite kind of cheese for sandwiches? And which is your favourite for eating alone? Oh, so many favourites. You know what? Standard response, all the cheeses. I love all the cheeses, or I wouldn't be making them, would I? So, yeah. Some of my favourites of late. Oh, let me think. In sandwiches, there's this Just trying to think. It wasn't Jarlsberg. Something like it. It was some kind of Swiss-style Alpine cheese that was absolutely delicious. What was it? Could have been Jarlsberg. I can't remember. Anyway, I was having. It wasn't a sandwich. It was a croissant. So a croissant or croissant, however you want to say it. I had the other day. So I split it in half, right? And this is just a box that you can buy from your supermarket of croissants. It wasn't a fresh one. So I cut it in half sideways so it still looked like a banana. Open it up, put a slice of Jarlsberg in there. I also put some ham off the bone, and I put that in there as well. Closed it up, put it in the microwave, 20 seconds, and you can't tell me that is an amazing cheese. Well, it's got ham in it too. Cheese and ham croissant. I tell you what, absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, that's my favourite way of eating a cheese slice like that. Favourite for eating alone? All of them. Love them. The other night, I had a piece of red Leicester from Snowdonia Dairies in Wales. Very nice. Red Leicester. Lovely. Had a fantastic flavour. A couple of days before that, I had a Camembert style from King Island Dairies in Tasmania, on King Island. Absolutely beautiful. And I heard some great news the other day as well, that a Queensland company bought the King Island Dairy. It was going bankrupt. Well, it wasn't going bankrupt. Sapporo, which is a Canadian cheese company, was selling it, and they couldn't find a buyer. But a Queensland company jumped in, so absolutely fantastic. So there is still going to be King Island Dairy cheese made. So I'm very impressed because they make some amazing cheeses. Zombicus has a question, says, all my vacuum packed cheeses stay sealed except for Tipsy Lecter, Drunken Cow. I've resealed it about 6 times now and it keeps losing its seal. Is this due to the gases given off by the wine? Yeah, there's some fermentation going on there by the sounds of it, producing CO2 gas, which will... It's not losing its seal, it's just producing gas in the bag and therefore it's losing its vacuum. The seal's probably intact. So, yeah, that's probably what's happening there, Lisa, I would think. Matt's late as well. It's only 4 minutes to go. G'day, Matt. Lovely to see you, mate. Goodness me. Yeah, there's a joke going on, people shuffling in late. Anyway, where are we? Mike has a question and says, does the wheel thickness impact the flavour much? Am I better making thicker cheeses? It does affect so if you get a wheel of cheese and the mould's too big for the amount of curds that you have, and you get a flatter cheese, you're going to find it dries out quicker. So yes, it does impact the flavour. You get a less moist cheese. It has a bigger surface area and it dries out. So that's an issue. So yeah, if they're thicker, they're going to be moister in the middle. So that's my thought on that. Anyway, Matt's come up with the cheese, the list of cheeses. Shall we read them out? Yeah, let's do that. Red Leicester, Tilsit, Caerphilly, Bel Paese, Red Windsor, Stilton, Gruyere, Emmental, Norwegian Jarlsberg, Lip Tower, Lancashire, White Stilton, Danish Blue, Double Gloucester, Cheshire, Dorset, Blue Vinny, Brie, Roquefort, Pont l'Evêque, Port Salut, Savoyard, St. Paulin, Carré de l'Est, is there any more? Borson, Brest Blue, Pearl de Champagne, Camembert, Gouda, Edam, Caithness, Smoked Austrian, Sage Derby, Wensleydale, Greek Feta, Gorgonzola, Parmesan, Mozzarella, Pippo Creme. Is that it? That seems to be everything. That's a lot. Oh, no, I missed one. Czechoslovakian sheep's milk cheese, Venezuelan beaver cheese, cheddar. I don't think, is there such a thing as, no, I don't think there is. Cheddar, Ilchester, Limburger. Very nice. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Cool Cat says, I'm embarrassed to say I enjoy Dairy Lee with thinly sliced cucumber on soft white bread. I guess you like what you like, right? I'm also a Primula, all flavours on top. I don't know what Primula is. I'll have a look at it after the show. So, applause for Matt, indeed. We'll give him a cow moo. There we go. We'll give him another one. And a baby goat. Congratulations. Thank you, Matt. That's it, Curd Nerds. Thank you, Small. Oh, there's one more question. Where is it? No, we don't have any time. I've got to go and get the milk from the Indian grocer and get me stuff going. Thanks, everybody, for watching today. It's been a pleasure, as always. I'm going to sell stuff. Because, that's how we keep the lights on, as well as the members and patrons. Curd Nerd Academy is, we're getting a bit of a refresh. There's going to be a new course, white mold cheeses. That's coming very soon, because I've been working on it. Finally, got my act together. So go to the Curd Nerd Academy, which is courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. You can pick up cheesemaking supplies over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. We sell everything from kits all the way down to the smallest cultures. And if you like the merch that I'm wearing today and the mug, talk curdy to me. You can pick that up over at merch.cheeseman.tv. Anyway, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. I've had a great time. Very lively chat. Lots of questions. Ones that I've never seen before, which is, it just goes to show that after 349 shows, that we're still getting different questions and we're not repeating the same ones over, except for what's your favourite cheese? All right, that one comes up all the time. But anyway, thanks, Curd Nerds, and it's been a great show. All right, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.